So welcome to another installment of Exploring Consciousness with the Earth Nouveau Hub. And we are really well supported today by the male rising, hat bearing people,
Beard welding.
Yes, and a couple of beards. We didn't need that, right? Fantastic. I was just saying to Amir, we don't necessarily have a topic, so we're just going to see what comes up. And to be honest, I'm finding it quite difficult to stick with one particular topic at the time at the moment, or even, to talk about something specific, because every day is different. Every day this morning I woke up and there was this huge completion energy. There wasn't a particular dream or anything that I had, but I continuously heard completion. And I'd love to know what it means, but I'm not entirely sure what I have completed. But there's definitely something that's been changing again and again and again. Now, we don't do hands and stuff, so we just talk because we're not that many here, and we are in a nice little safe space. So whatever comes up for you at the moment, just jump at it and just bring it up, and then we'll see where this whole thing develops.
So let's jump in with completion.
Yes.
Wow, what a wonderful thing.
Yes.
And especially when you just come out of the dreamtime world. That's usually very profound. When you come back with only one or two words, those are very, very important. You can't miss them, and it's worth meditating on that. Completion, that's incredible. Now, what it is that you've completed or how it is you've completed it may be beside the point. The only thing your conscious mind needed is to know that completion is here. So that's part of this, I suppose, the journey that you've been on. You could meditate on it, thinking about, all right, what have I been doing that is now completed? What a beautiful feeling. How are your emotions compared to when you went to bed?
Yeah. It was quite interesting because, the completion, I would usually associate a joyful perspective, right? And as you say, this is happy and everything. I was quite annoyed, to be honest. And this is quite interesting. I woke up, I was kind of frustrated. Not because I completed something, but I was probably going into expectation, thinking, okay, completion now, this is going to be joyful and everything. And then I got up and was like, oh, exactly the same.
Now what? What's next?
It's like, why am I so frustrated? But of course, like always, perfect invitation to cultivate allowance and balance and really dropping into that feeling. What is that? And yes, I snapped out of it. And the one way to snap out of that sort of frustration and be a bit icky and on the edge with other people as well, I just went back into my body. And I said, okay, let's do some breathing here. I went back in the body. I did some very intense Kundalini breathing, lots of, physical exercise. And that just snapped me back in right that. And it's really fascinating to watch. Because I keep on saying that to people, but doing it yourself is a different thing, right? But then you do it and it actually does work. Yes. It does work.
So can anybody else think of similar experiences? When you wake up in the morning, all you brought back from the astral plane is one or two words that are very profound, and they have a deep impact on you, and you don't even know what the hell's going on. So while you're thinking, go, please, Amy, go ahead. You wanted to start.
Well, no, because I feel the same way. I don't know, Martina, we must be on the same wavelength, but completion is, to me, that's another word. It's like this completion, and it's not anything that's stopped. Like I'm done with something. It's more of like the next wave is coming, and it's nothing to do with stopping. It just feels like, okay, now I'm doing this. So completion has been coming to my, that's so weird, but it has been coming to my mind too. And it feels so good in my heart. Like, it's like, I know when it's like, that's the word, like, that's it. I know what I'm done completing, if that makes sense. But spirit talks to me a lot in little words. So thank you for saying that, because they say little, it's not a whole sentence, it's not a download. Yeah. And so so thank you for confirming that, because I kept thinking, why are they just saying one or two words?
It's the exploration of the energy that is embodied in that word, right?
Yes, yes.
And as we're speaking, I'm just thinking, we're all multidimensionally, travelers and all of that. And I'm just thinking, it's like, because this is so, okay, so this is interesting, because, we try to apply, I'll speak for myself, I try to apply everything in the unseen to the seen. What does it look like in the seen world? And I've just realized for myself is like that completion, whatever I completed, was not meant to be reflected in the scene right away. So there was something that I've completed that obviously I cannot recall now, because I can't recall that dream, but it's very clear now that it's something that has been completed that does, and because it actually cannot be seen in this reality at this moment in time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Perfect sense. In my humble experience, there have been times when I come back and there's a little snippet. For example, oh, this is awesome. This is really good. But what's really good, I have no idea. I have no bloody clue. And then 6 months pass, the whole picture unfolds, and I say, oh my goodness, that was actually very kind and gracious from the higher aspects of myself, not to pressure the ego. Because sometimes having information in advance is a terrible burden. And you, if you're honest with yourself, knowing something, you're going to mess it up. You're going to say something or do something or indicate something in some way. Not knowing is a bliss. They always say ignorance is bliss. So sometimes you're blissfully ignorant until it's time. And then you say, oh my goodness, I get it. Thank you for not burdening me with this information at that point in time. I'd have screwed everything up, and then I'd be feeling awful. So yeah, there is a wisdom to not knowing.
And you know what? It's actually, it's just for me, just for fun, not to tell anyone, that kind of thing. Because at times it's that you screw it up, yes, but and there's another element, if you start sharing this, and you will not be perceived in a line, not that we care, but it does put a damper on it, right? Oh, where's she going off on another tantrum now? What the hell is going on? Tangent, not tantrum. Yes. That kind of thing. And this is the difficulty and the invitation at the same time to remain at our level of awareness that is equal to the level of allowance when we are living, breathing, working, playing in this reality of polarity and contrast that we're still in, right? Lana, you got your hands up. Go for it.
Yes, I wanted to share a dream I had recently. I will not tell the dream because it's a little bit personal. So
go for it.
I remember that I had this dream in particular that I had a situation with someone in the dream. And then several days later, I spontaneously acted on the dream, and I did not realize that I acted on the very dream until everything was over, like a couple of days later. And then I remember the dream and I said, oh my God, it's exactly what the dream was about. And I played it out in person. So I felt like the completion from the dream time to the awake state completed itself. So I found that this was the first time that I saw the completion in such a close proximity of timing. Now, have we had dreams and then played them out maybe a year later? That's quite possible. I don't know. But because of the proximity of the timing, I remember the dream and what happened in the real awake state. And I find that quite interesting now that things are happening much faster. Right?
Absolutely. And I'm just thinking, as you speak, Ilana, I'm also thinking, you know, with the awareness of multidimensional living, what if some of those dreams are, as we said earlier, not meant to be played out, even in this reality? It's almost like this real invitation to live parallel lives. If you think about it, right, we can make versions of ourselves and put them into different places, spaces, universes, galaxies, wherever. And we've been doing this anyway forever.
Yeah.
Now the conscious awareness is going to kick in that we're doing it, isn't it? And isn't that a nice little, oh, yes,
Absolutely.
that's what's going on here, right?
It's the infinite being honoring the ego. In this here and now, this I am presence is showing integrity. And therefore, the infinite being is honoring it. Okay, little buddy, you can't fit the sea, the ocean into a cup, but here's a little drop, have a taste. And yeah, well done, we're proud of you.
Yeah, I wanted to say something else. 1 second, Mark, before I forget what
Okay.
there was another dream I had recently, and I was thinking to myself, because I know of recently I integrated some soul shards, and I was thinking to myself, I had a dream whereby I was having something going on, but then I was talking to the person, like a second person of the same person, a second aspect of the same person in the dream. And I'm asking the second aspect of the person, do you know anything about this? And the second aspect is saying, no, I don't. And so I got to thinking after I woke up, and I was wondering, am I having a dream about another paradox? Remember, we had 4 paradoxes that happened. And I'm thinking, I wonder if that soul shard was in that paradox, and I experienced it in the dream time because I integrated some of myself, maybe from another paradox. So I was experiencing part of that paradox that soul shard perhaps came from. Is that a possibility?
I would say so. And also remember, we are collapsing timelines at the moment, left, right, and center, time and space. So it could be just the timeline collapse that we are, you know, bringing it all together. And also you just mentioned something good. You said the integration of our soul shards. Now, we don't actually really know what that feels or looks like, right? We are actually only waking up to that, right?
Yeah.
So what is your experience, perspective from a soul shard integration? What does that actually look like in the seen and in the unseen?
Are you asking me?
No, asking everyone who wants to say something.
I can share an experience. So not going beyond this incarnation, of course, you know that traumatic events have the potential to chip a piece of our being off. We leave an energetic residue in the place and time of the trauma. And integration is really dealing with and healing that trauma, resolving it, coming to peace, and calling back that piece of our energy that's left behind. Now, what that feels like is, imagine you've got a hot iron on your skin and it's continuously burning. And this has been going on for ages, to the extent that you've become acquainted to the pain. You don't even realize it's there anymore. But when the soul shard comes back, that pain is relieved. It is such a profound sense of calm. They say there's no greater pleasure than the cessation of pain. And I can vouch for that. It is a beautiful feeling. And then there's the integration of your energy coming back home. From that piece of energy and from the whole that's now even more complete, tears start to flow. It's beautiful. And you could imagine that such a thing could happen from past lives. And I'm sure all of you esteemed fellow panel members, you've had people that you've dealt with, that you've probably helped them with resolving some sort of a trauma. The entire being recognizes this healing. And to Lana, speaking about the person, two aspects being completely unaware of each other. So that would be whoever that person is going to be in need of integration. So you're talking to somebody where the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. That is not good. That's a person with leaking energy. They're at 50% maximum capacity. They're not going to be their full self. And that's going to limit their development. So again, we go through cycles. It's interesting. We started our conversation with completion. Maybe each round we go around, heal another unknown aspect of ourselves, integrate ourselves into the full infinite being that we truly are. That's one more round of completion. And is there a full 100% limit? Well, probably yes. But let's just say if you go over 80% of integration, you're going to be able to do some pretty amazing things. And under that critical limit, there are going to be problems that are going to affect you spiritually, physically, mentally.
Interesting, fascinating. But I was thinking that it was I who was experiencing like a second timeline. And I'm looking at that as a paradox. But then the only way I can decipher the two is by realizing that there's the same person in both timelines. So that was really what I was kind of getting from that.
And you know, what does it look like at the end of the day? I mean, Amir, you've just beautifully explained that healing process, right? And then as a result of that, there is this heightened level of awareness, because you're all of a sudden starting to really consciously work in conjunction, work together, mutually contributing with those soul shards. I mean, and having said that, you know, not every, let's talk about soul shards, factions, but they're also, you know, there are different I ams that are a soul faction in itself. And not all of them want to integrate, you know? So there is this element that we're becoming aware of that too now. And that's okay, because all we can do is we invite them to work with us in non-competition, right?
Bingo. Exactly the thing I was thinking. Non-competition, non-hierarchical order, equal co-creation. So going back to a shout out to my esteemed teacher, Andrew Bartzis. So talking about the precognitive workforce, how your different aspects, the different I ams that exist all here and now. So let's forget about time. Let's forget about space or domains. It's all here now. So this individuation process happens for a purpose. Maximum potential for experiences. Good and bad, there is no positive or negative. It's just experience. So if you're in good alignment, then you have lots of versions of yourself. Let's say clones of the same infinite being running in different domains. And of course, in every 100, there's going to be one that's acting out a life of the Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't care. I don't want to work with you guys. But that's also okay. You know, we don't all have to be Buddhas and saints. Being naughty is fun also, I think, you know.
Absolutely. And it's, you know, I would almost say it's getting more and more important, right? Because, you know, that humor, that naughtiness, that sort of, it is part of the integrity, is part of the honoring and the witnessing each other, because it is part of who we are. It's part of being human, right? And it entertains not just, you know, this reality, but all the bloody realities, you know, because they don't have this opportunity to have a body, to be a bit, you know, to really exponentialize their naughtiness, right? Because it's quite useful to have a body to facilitate that, right? Absolutely. So it is all about relationship, relating, be that now the shards, the parts, the avatars, the different I ams, the, you know, the soul integration itself. And of course, you know, everything that we have here in form, in the seen world, in, you know, not just human species, but any other species and everything. And, you know, the relationships are an amazing tool. I'm not just obviously talking about intimate relationships, but they are particularly good to remind ourselves where we're at and what is still missing, at least what we are perceiving that is still missing. Knowing that, of course, nothing is ever missing, but that's beyond the point when we're in the human body, right? I mean, let's call it what it is. So it's so often when you are relating with someone and something, we often take the responsibility outside of ourselves. Yeah, this is not working. There's something wrong with this person. It's not my frequency. It's not my vibration. I can't go into harmony with that. And is that really the case? Or is that the little bit of the victimhood coming through, the disempowered little human saying, you know, oh, don't really want to do the work. I don't really want to look at that mirror now. How are you guys doing at the moment with relating?
Pretty good with non-humans, at least. Let's just say I've never had a bad breakup with my cat, right? So there's something about animals and nature. They're not sassy. They're not catty, even if they're a cat. Yeah, it's very easy to love pets. It's very easy to love animals. They're just pure. If they like you, they wag their tail. If they don't, they give you a little scratch or a little bite. You know where you stand. There's no agenda. There's no strategy. Okay, I'm going to get you in 6 months. You wait and see. That never happens. So I think, you know, loving nature is very easy. Loving people, of course, that's a next level, boss level. You know, it's not for every being in the universe, in the cosmos, to do such a difficult kind of task. So yeah, my hat off to all the fellow human beings. Yes, if you're here and now, you're awesome. But yeah, it is difficult. We all know, we've all had our fair share of bad relationships with people. But it's there for the boss level teaching. That, okay, you manage this, you deal with this with integrity. Oh my goodness, then you're an ascended master next time round. So yeah, again, with the level of difficulty, the rewards are increased. So yeah, it's sometimes tough, we know that. But then there comes the place for being naughty, having a little fun, not at anybody's expense, but yeah, just having some clean fun, having a deep belly laugh, letting all that stress go and then coming back at it fresh. And then mastering the boss level. And I keep going back to what Martina started with, completion. Yes, you resolve a karmic debt with an individual, may have been in play for many lifetimes, you never know. This time round, you did it correctly. Ding, 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 completion. Voila, now you've ascended to the next level. So yeah, it's difficult, but we're here because we're superheroes. We're awesome. We're kick-ass, yeah? We're all that.
And like Andrew would say, we came here for a PhD in the School of Hard Knocks. So.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely.
But Martina, I think Alfredo wanted to say something before.
You're such a gentleman, dude. You've just been waiting and with that lovely smile, not saying anything. Oh yeah, well, your class is much appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, man. I just make sure everybody speaks. I don't like to over. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't want to. I mean, it was about the completion energy, and you were talking about a word. I was like, I don't have words, but I always have like glimpses of dreams that'll stick with me. And for me, the completion was like, I think about a month ago, maybe a little bit more. I do a lot of Andrew's work, and eventually I get to a point where like, all right, it's just repetition with no illumination. I'm just doing it just to do it. So I just drop it for a bit, pick up Linda. I don't know, something about doing her work. And after I started engaging her frequency, I started having all these lucid, vivid dreams that started occurring back to back. And had one that really stuck with me that was, I was like, I usually do my morning routine where I go out and meditate by the tree for an hour, maybe less, more, whatever. I was going to go out to the tree. I was like, you know what? I really don't feel like meditating. I'm just going to go back to bed. And I went back to bed, and it's like if I woke up in a dream, I went back to bed. I woke up and I was like, oh, let me go meditate. And I saw myself in a different like parallel setting or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to go out to meditate. And I was like, no, I'll just go play on my phone. And in that moment, I saw myself in the third person in the living room, like playing on my phone, just curled up. And just the sight of that, I saw that. And then I woke up from the dream. I was like, whoa. And after that, I just couldn't see anything the same the whole day. I was just like very silent, very observant. And that in that moment, I felt like this completion, like I felt like the unentangled observer like was kicking in even fuller. And that was definitely a big completion for me. I definitely feel in that entangled and unentangled observer status more now. But that was the biggest thing for me that happened recently. So I haven't been seeing things the same. What's up?
So can I please ask you, how long were you working on the new routine? So you mentioned Linda, you mentioned following some of Andrew's methods, but before this event, how long had you been at it consistently?
Andrew's or Linda's?
All in all, so you changed something, you upped your game, and you stuck with it for a period of time, and then the culmination is this wonderful mystical experience where you're describing. But my question is, and I have a purpose here, how long were you at it?
Oh man, it's been so long. I've been doing Andrew's material probably since 2015, 2016, on and off, and I've been hitting it harder lately. And I've been binging his book. So it's been years I've been doing this stuff. So it's just refining the process. And then every now and then I have moments where I'll weave in and out of it. But for a long time, and Linda's material is just like a year, not a year, about a month or so.
That's what I was getting at. So what I know completely aligns with what you just described. You add a new element to your practice and you stick with it faithfully. Suddenly, after a certain period of time, and that might not be the same for all of us, but then boom, something else unlocks. So that's the beauty of variety. So if you find people that are of integrity, that you find an element of truth in what they're saying, please do integrate it into your practice. You never know what magical realm is going to open to you. So yeah, that was amazing. Thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah, I felt like it was an added sense of awareness and perception that got added into my daily living or whatever. But yeah, it's like something changed and shifted, and I can now as I go back to Andrew's material, but it's seeing it with different eyes now, you know. And I don't know, like his material just keeps, you know, the more you get into it and evolve it, you see more layers to it. And it's more deeper now. But yeah, thanks, Amir.
Remember,
thanks for letting me share.
we were saying last time, we used the example of mercury, the mercury in the thermometer, when you take it out and it just starts slivering all over the place, you know, and then you get a little drop off it, you know. And what you guys were just saying, I had that image, is like when the little drop gets back to the blob again, and it's like takes it in, and there it is, exponentialized this whole thing, you know. And often it's that tiny little frequency that is slightly different, that is missing. That's the missing link. Yeah. So it's not even a word, it's not a new teaching, it's just a different way of presentation, the different frequency it is presented as, right? That then just brings it all together. And what it does, it only reminds you of what you already know. And that's the lovely thing about it, you know. And this is why, you know, I'm a big fan of looking at lots and lots and lots of different things, not from a place of super curiosity or seeking or not feeling that you're not enough or then that kind of shit, but because it's fun. It's fun because everyone, you know, uses a different word. I mean, English is not my native language, so I love different words anyway. Every time I hear a different one, I'm like, yeah, what does that mean? Let's look it up in one of those, what's called etymology, you know, and things like that. So, and as we know, words are all black magic in a way, right? So we got to really start looking, and this is where the heart comes in when we talk about the heart's discernment, when we talk about the heart's intelligence, to actually start interpreting the words based on the sensory experience that we have, not necessarily what the book says, you know.
You just gave me an idea, Martina, as you were talking about the Mercury, and I'm thinking to myself, well, we're actually complete as we are right now, but each time we integrate back one of our soul shards or some information that we may have gathered from somebody else, another teacher or something like that, and it comes back like that Mercury drop back into our wholeness, we are constantly sort of adding to our completeness, because we are always complete.
We're always complete, and yet we are fractalized. There's the completion in the fractal, right? That kind of thing. And that's the cat biting its tail, because we're continuously running after that little tail in the back, knowing there's more, there's more, there's more, there's more. Because it's good. And it's not supposed to be an addiction, right? Or validation, or if you use it for that. It's just something that, if that's what you're going to do this lifetime, then that's what you're going to do. And if you want to go out there and do something else, you do something else. You know?
I'm thinking once again, I'm thinking that we're born complete, but we're empty. And as we gather information, we're completing this emptiness, but yet still, we're still complete. Because we were born complete out of the creation, you know, great mysteries creation. So we keep adding information, knowledge, wisdom, and from a variety of different aspects, different teachers, different modalities, different timelines, different paradoxes, you know. It's all a part of bringing that little drop back in and adding to ourselves.
I like to look at it a little bit differently, like the analogy of glass half full, glass half empty. So I agree with what you all said. We are complete. There is no weakness. There is no I cannot do. But there's the illusion that's certainly present. The illusion of weakness, illusion of limitation. So with each one of these new frequencies we come across and validate with practice, with persistence, that illusion is removed. So we remember the truth. Oh my goodness, I can. Oh, wow, I remember. Oh, I know. Oh, I am. I can do this. I've done it 1,000 times before. Oh, wow, I remember 900 of them. So it's really the barriers, the limitations are false. They're distortions, filters upon what reality is, what the real reality is. That we are infinite, that we are cosmic beings, that we are creator beings. We've just forgotten and believed in the illusion. It's just cleaning up the lens, you know, getting rid of those specks that are distorting the image. But it does take work. If you've seen anybody clean the windows on a skyscraper, well, that's not easy. It's sometimes scary. Sometimes accidents happen, but it's worth it, I think. So yeah, that would be every window you clean, one more cycle of completion. Ding, 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 completion. Here we go. Next window.
And as soon as you finish cleaning the first window, then the last window, you start from scratch again because they're
exactly,
dirty.
Exactly. Yes, that is so true. Because we're not left to our own devices, we're bombarded with negativity. And a lot of it is intentional. You know, we're not living in a clean, pristine reality. It's tough out there. You come across a person who's toxic, knowing or unknowing, they may dirty a few of your windows, but hey, come on, it happens. You know, it's up to us to be the good window cleaners.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of the best jobs out there, right? Lifting that veil, getting rid of all the programming of all conditions. Absolutely.
You're reminding me, Amir, of a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago or so. We had our house egged like 3 times in 1 year, and it was a mess to clean. But the mischief maker left. He was a foreign exchange student, apparently, in the neighborhood, and he was apparently the ringleader of doing that. So anyway, you just reminded me of that.
The egg banditas, huh?
Yeah. But after he left, the problem got solved, you know. It didn't happen again.
Fantastic. When we talk about completion, what also comes to mind is the separation of density. Because, you know, I often see, and I'm sure we all do, as we are completing, something gets lost, and not in a bad way. Something gets released. Be this now in a human-to-human relationship, you know, people just start disappearing, and often we actually don't acknowledge it. We just never, you know, realize it until one day you say, oh, geez, I haven't heard from this person forever. And that is a succession. That is a result of a completion process. That is part of the healing that we're doing. And this is why the completion and the separation of and everything is so linked to our relationships. And of course, creating form. Because as soon as we're completing the one thing, we, you know, gather our energy again from a different, you know, perspective, probably, to create something new, something different, not necessarily, not better, but just something different. And how many of you guys have had that? You know, you got a job and you start doing something, and then, or even if you have your own company, your own business, like I have, you know, you do something and then like, okay, you do it for a year or two, and then all of a sudden, no longer so fun, no much naughtiness in that one, right? And then you lose then no clients come and you think, oh God, what's wrong? Well, no, there's nothing wrong. You've completed, right? You've completed. When people disappear in your life, don't be sad. There's something you have done, right? Or not done, that allows them to move on. And then is the question, you know what? Am I better off with this? What are the possibilities now that I didn't have before because I was cluttering up my energy with certain, you know, things that probably don't necessarily really work for me.
So Martina, even if nobody new comes in, even if you're on your own in one leg of the journey, that's not a bad thing. So you've got less people that don't serve you. That's a good thing, right? They're not taking your energy. So even if you sleep peacefully and dream sweet dreams, that's still better than interacting with these people. It doesn't always have to manifest something tangible. So I agree with you. Yeah, moving upwards isn't always eventful. Say you're in an airplane and you're gaining altitude. You don't really notice. You're in there, it's happening. Suddenly you're at 30,000 feet. So yeah, it doesn't have to be bumpy and lightning striking and whirlwinds going around and tsunamis coming. No, I mean, it sometimes is fun like that. But yeah, you're just going up, let's say in a hot air balloon, gaining altitude, nothing's happening, la, 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 here we're at the next level. And then the storm starts again. So yeah, life is brilliant that way.
And thanks for mentioning that, you know, because what's happening then, you know, like you're giving us the metaphor of the plane, right? Nothing is really changing, but you are going up. Now, lots of people start getting really uncomfortable. There's a discomfort in not having a challenge, in not having people around you, in not doing and having. So what they do, they jump out the bloody plane all the way back down again. Oh my God, I gotta be down there, gotta be down there. No, hold on. Stay buckled up. Put your little, you know, oxygen mask on, breathe.
Or even, you know, even better, put the seat back. Order a nice beverage from the attendant.
Yeah, get pissed.
Yeah, enjoy your drink with ice. Chill, watch a nice movie. You know, we're conditioned from childhood that no pain, no gain. And I bet you the person who termed that key was a bloody sadist or a masochist or both. Pain and gain. Okay, yes, there is merit to hard work when it's called for. But if you're floating upwards, just relax, dude. Be chill, be zen. You know, it doesn't have to be tense and painful and stressful. And I think that's something we need to learn more of. If you're in alignment with your purpose, all your energies are focused towards the same direction. Well, why not? Why shouldn't it be peaceful and smooth riding? You know, so that's a really lovely point you brought up, Martina. Yeah, I completely agree.
And you know, that's equal practice. It's just as much practice to not slip back into the box of the old, of the normal, of the conventional, of the limitation and the conditioning. You've got to stay where you're at, and you've got to learn. And I'm not saying you, I had to learn it myself. I still have to learn it myself, because just like what Amir says, all of a sudden, what's going on is nothing. There's nothing. There's this void space. What the hell, right? What am I doing wrong? There's nothing you're doing wrong. The question is, what am I doing right?
Why not have more? Yeah.
Yeah.
More smooth sailing, you know, more just chilling back, enjoying your drink and watching a movie. Why not? You know, it actually can be that way, where every moment is absolutely blissful and amazing. That would be the objective in this incarnation, wouldn't it? That you're growing continuously, you're abundant, you don't have to worry. Because again, financial worry is probably one of the most toxic things. It makes you age prematurely. It messes with your soul, your mind, your body. So yeah, you're making enough money, you're comfortable, you're not in need, you're developing your spirit and your mind, and everything is fine and dandy, and you're having fun along the way. Why not? I think that would be a beautiful objective for all of us. So yeah, we don't have to suffer. And there's this Indian guru, very famous gentleman, Sadhguru. You've probably heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was talking about one of his teachers being asked what is life, and the answer was, life is the scent of jasmine on the cool spring breeze. And then the person asking the question was a priest in the making, studying to be a priest. He said, no, but my teacher said life is suffering, suffering, suffering. To which the guru answers, well, that is his life. It doesn't have to be yours. So it is what we make of it. We don't need to suffer. That's just one of the other illusions, probably one of the worst of them. Mm-hmm. That even though everything is going perfect, we keep asking, okay, what am I doing wrong? Why is there no pain? Why is nobody poking me?
Yeah, and you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like,
exactly. It's too good to be true. Oh, come on, give yourself a break.
Yeah. And I also think, like, bringing up even identification, I'm letting go of like the identifiers of who I am, and like mother, sister, daughter, like, and just seeing people as not an identity, like, oh, that's my mom, that's my sister. It's more like that is a human, and seeing them as that, not as all the other little things that I think of them as my sister. And, you know, I've been playing with that a lot, like just seeing people as people and trying to understand them too, trying to speak so they understand. And I don't know, it's just been something I've been doing. And it's actually like almost like like when I look at them, it's almost like I don't even see them, but like just a form of them, and let go of all whatever my judgments are or were, or, you know, and starting like fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I think being able to see yourself beyond the boundaries of ego, all those definitions, is one thing, but to be able to see everybody else in that way, I think then you really have access to their essence. So if you're in the business of helping people, looking at them beyond the identity, beyond the ego, to their energy, their essence, who they really are beyond this incarnation or the last, or 10 ones in the future, that's where the magic really happens, quote unquote magic, where you really hit the core, that you can do some profound healing. That's a really beautiful thing you brought up. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I find children are so much easier to be with. I mean, I was a preschool teacher, and, you know, throughout the years, and it's like, wow, it's so different. And then when the adults come in the room, and just because I can be with children and forget that I'm an adult. But it's funny how when the teacher or another teacher comes in, and it's like, damn it, you know, like this child was doing something so beautiful, and just because it's time to eat or lunch, you know, it can't wait for 5 more minutes. It was like, I don't know, that just brought back so much of children are just so pure and innocent.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
with the next adult coming in the room, they've got their bubble of reality that's invading that pure reality that you were sharing with the children. So it would be an amazing practice, firstly, to hold your own vibration. So your own bubble of reality is yours, you're sovereign and in control, and you do not allow anybody or anything to change your vibration. Mm-hmm. And then after that point, you'll be able to extend it to a point where you enter a stadium with 100,000 people, and you're still the one in control of what vibration is in your presence. If they happen to enter your bubble of reality, they must change, not you. So again, it's just awareness. So that awareness that you spoke of, somebody else comes in and causes change. That's the first step. Then next step would be holding your own light. And that's very difficult. We're human, we're biologically built to be empathetic and feel for others, but it's a skill that can be attained with just awareness and practice. You don't allow anybody to change. You're fine, high energy, high vibing, to the point that you're able to sit down on the floor and play Lego with a 3-year-old. Mm-hmm. That's a good skill, but then keeping it. Nobody can dirty that energy. No way. You come into my bubble, you better wash up, okay? And then would come the point where you can influence hundreds of thousands. Many famous people in the world were able to do this, and they rose to great power. Not all of them were good people. Some of them were mighty evil, but they still had that ability to override the reality of everyone else in their presence. Even decades later, you watch videos of some of these people, evil tyrants, right? Hitler, Stalin, people like this. You listen to the tone of the voice and you feel, oh my God, this dude is doing something. They're changing. Or another example, probably less well-known, Khomeini, the Ayatollah Khomeini that did the revolution in Iran. This guy was an energy master. So you would see there was a long war between Iran and Iraq. Iran had nothing. They just had small weapons. Generals would come and say, hey, dude, we're losing. We just lost 150,000 soldiers. 5-10 minutes, he just raise his hand and say, you got to win. And that's it. They'd go out and they'd win. They'd lose another 300,000, but they'd win. right? So you see these things coming up. Now, why not, as people that are in the business of healing, in the business of lifting people up, why shouldn't we use the same techniques? Why should it all be the nasty guys? All hail to the light. Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
I'm just going to say something to the inversion of all of that without leading us into separation. Okay, we got to be very careful with that. All hail to the light and the dark. Okay, because we've got to look at that from that perspective. And the only way, what you guys were just saying, as Amy was saying, you've got to get rid of your identification. The more identification you have, the more you fracture yourself in addition to the soul fracture, because the more you actually splinter yourself, and the more you give away, the less you define yourself with a particular role, the bigger you become. That's what Amir is saying in terms of, you know, building up that light, that radiant body of yours. And we're doing it by what we said earlier on, by letting go of everything that's inflicting, you know, splinters into this whole thing, you know, just by letting everything go. That's how we expand. And then holding that light is practice.
Yes, very beautifully put. I couldn't have done it better. So yeah, thank you very much. And excellent words. Yeah.
And we have to go to the next level of non-judgment. That cannot be an agenda in this, because agenda takes us out of the present moment. And as soon as you're not present, that's it. You're out the body. It goes, we're all time travelers by far too quickly. Yeah, that's it. One moment, just gone. Body's here. You might still be talking, but no, that's it. No good. That's when they come in.
Yes.
That's when that energy intrusion is, when we're not present, when we go into judgment. As soon as we go into judgment, and what is the difference between a point of view and a judgment? Nobody says you shouldn't have a point of view. We all have points of views. Yeah, that keeps us going. What is the difference?
Well, judgment is, okay, this and this and this applies, therefore this and this and this. You've done this, or you are this, therefore this is what's the consequence. That would be judgment. But then we've got evaluation. I clearly, without bias, observe this and this is true, but there's no following statement, therefore this and this. That doesn't exist. So having good evaluation is important. You evaluate, you've got clear information, and then you make clear decisions. But it's not about then sentencing someone or judging them, so to speak. So evaluation, good. Judgment, oh hell no.
So when can evaluation be judgment?
If it leads to well, how to put this? Then based on that evaluation, you change your unbiased behavior, turns into something that is biased, or it follows an agenda or a rule book or something. So if you maintain that sacred neutral, you see clearly, you still behave with compassion, you still behave with dignity, then that would be sort of evaluation. So the knowledge isn't changing you.
I like the sacred neutral, because the sacred neutral hasn't got the emotion attached to it. So we can have a point of view and you can say, but there is no emotional attachment to it. And also, even if you get angry for money, oh, fuck this, blah, that seems like, oh, this is judgment. But it's a short term, it's just like a spark. It's got no vibration to it that carries it along, you know, just as much as we're using spark and vibration to create a long-term agenda and an impact, just like what Amir was saying about those guys, you know, that deeply affect us positively and negatively, you know, it's okay, because lots of people then say, oh God, they judge themselves thinking they're judging. One thing, if you're thinking you're judging, you're probably not judging. It's the other ones that judging, because a judger would never think that they're judging. Hi, Sean. Good to see you.
Hey there.
How you doing?
Good to see you guys too. Did you start an hour ago or right now?
Say again?
Did you guys start an hour ago or do you start right now?
No,
Hour.
An hour ago, Ben.
Oh.
But
Okay.
three men. Welcome,
Guys,
welcome.
this is good. Good stuff.
Completion. We're talking about completion. If you want to add something, got any ideas? Completion.
Oh, completion.
I wanted to add something to Martina's. This is how things come to me. You were talking about the light and the dark, or the shadow and the light. I was walking to my mailbox and it's asphalt, right? And I was walking my bare feet because I wanted to feel the sun, right? So I'm walking and it's very hot, and I come back and there's a shadow, and I'm like, oh, the shadow, it cooled my feet. Like, it cooled my feet off. Like, the light and the dark can be like together. Like, this feeling, I know it might sound but I had this feeling of like, wow, we can be together. Like, it does. We work together. You cooled my feet off. Thank you so much for the shadow. I just wanted to share that because it was very profound for me. But I was like, oh my God, now I get it. Like, it's that, whoops, I got it.
Very good trip to the mail.
Very good. Try it in your bare feet.
Thank you. Isn't that amazing how knowledge becomes wisdom once we embody it? How many times have we said there's no light without the shadow? Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God!
To experience in the body, it was like, oh my God, thank you for cooling my feet off. Like, I don't know. That's just silly. But
yes, it's all about, again, balance, being in the neutral point. If there's too much light, it'll burn you. If there's too much shadow, it'll drown you. So you've got to be able to introduce the right amount of light and dark, so to speak, to maintain neutrality. It can't be all love and light, la-di-da-di-da. You won't survive. And if it's too much darkness, you become a tyrant. So yeah, I completely agree. There's a place for everything. And again, those who are in the shadow, they're providing a very valuable act of service for us to contrast against them, to see what we are, how we are, again, to maintain neutrality. But again, there's a place for everything. There's no waste in energy or waste in the potential of creation. So yeah, everything has its place and value. We shouldn't judge.
No, I like this judgment and point of view, because I think judgments are heavier. Point of view, and you kind of have that instant acclamation. It's like, just like your lungs, like things are coming in, things are coming out. But as soon as you make a judgment, you're kind of inheriting it into your belief system. And then it starts building itself into your creation. So it's like, okay, we've accepted that as some sort of truth. Our reality is going to build into that. So then it becomes dense, it becomes thick, it becomes heavy, because it becomes three-dimensionally real instead of infinite.
Do you know, Sean, there's a good thing. The way to look at it is, think of when you get judged by people, what it feels like. It can be
stops you. It's like walking into a wall.
When you talk to somebody and they don't want to hear, I get a lot of that. I like talking to somebody, I'm so excited. And like the wall comes up, the invisible wall. It's like, oh, I can feel it. It's like pushing, it's a pushback. It's a pushback. So judgment is emotionally charged. It's got a lot of charge. You can perceive it physically. And do you know what? How much of our physical pain is based on judgment?
No, yes. Yeah. It's a psychic attack. If there is any example of psychic attack, judgment is one of them. You feel it in all levels of your being, and including the physical body. So it's one of the most ruthless forms of psychic attack. But again, being aware of its occurrence. Okay, this is going on. Number one, identifying there's a problem, and then consciously holding your own light. It's a very difficult thing. We're built into, we're social beings. We're built in a way to try to integrate into social groups and take into account what they think and feel, but sometimes it's evil in point of fact. It's harmful, it's painful, it's unkind. So when you're being judged, it's very, very difficult to keep your own light and not fall to it, even temporarily. That would be mastery in point and fact, that you see, okay, and it's not an easy thing. I mean, look at all these young people that unfortunately commit suicide because of the judgment people throw towards them online. Many of these people don't even know the person they're assaulting. But regardless, it's psychic attack, it's an evil act, unkind act. So yeah, I think people should, this is what they should be teaching in school, by the way. How to hold your light, how to not be affected by unkind, unjust opinions. But no, it exists, unfortunately. So I suppose we should stop doing it. At least start with ourselves, not do it to others. Maybe in a few generations, it will become more widespread. People don't do it to others.
I agree with you, Amir. What I call it is a malicious mental malpractice, where you maliciously malpractice on another person, and so you affect that person. I like to think of the commandment from the 10 Commandments: "Thou shalt not kill." So yes. Thou shalt not kill the eternal sense of man, because every time you judge them, you're malpracticing on that person or groups or people. Yeah. So it's very interesting. This is something that we ought to master in this lifetime. Yes. How not to do. Thou shalt not kill. And that's the way I interpret that commandment.
Let's add something. Thou shalt not be killed by ass monkeys. Yes.
That too. Yes.
They forgot that out of this is Commandment 11, the one that was broken. Yeah. Thou shalt not be killed by ass monkeys. And yeah, that's a difficult one.
Thou shalt not kill, and thou shalt not be killed by. Yeah. Interesting. That's how we expand our sacred neutral, right?
Yes,
stay in the sacred neutral and keep expanding on that. And we become better people in this world. And then our light shines much brighter.
Yes.
But still maintaining the sacred neutral balance. Like Andrew would always say, the light and dark can work together, can coexist together. If we would just work together and maintain the sacred neutral with each other.
Something I'd like to add. So just on judgment again, I just been noticing with myself for the past few past months, just like practicing healthcare. So like I've noticed like I have to look at a lot of pathogenic factors, and we're trained to look at a lot of what's wrong with a person. And I just noticed like the teeter-totter's been going like this, and like, holy shit, I gotta balance this shit with some good positive factors about this person, because my training has weighted me heavy oppressionally on one side. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, like I'm just starting to affect things a little bit by just too much focus on that. And I gotta put some water back in to feed both sides. Like, you know, because sometimes we get trapped looking at all the bad things instead of like looking at the positive things. And just to tack on two ideas at once. Like the other day, David and Andrew were talking about compassion. And David was talking about like, got me thinking. So it might get you guys thinking. But like the golden rule of like doing to others as you would to yourself. And I was thinking that is a pretty cool rule. And it comes into completion layers a lot too, because like what we do to others at one point in time of our life, a year later, 2 years later, we wouldn't do that to others because we wouldn't want that anymore. So it's like we keep going through these completional layers. And as we get older and get wiser, it just changes whatever our purpose or whatever we're doing. It's like, oh, I guess I'm not gonna do that to others anymore. But 5 years ago, I would have done that with the best intentions.
So how does it work for things that we do to ourselves and to others without knowingness?
But isn't that the purpose of life, to come into knowingness through experience? So we do something really awful, not knowing any better. It's excusable, but then we get the opportunity to get the boomerang roll back and smack us in the head. And then we say, oh, that wasn't too nice. Oh my goodness, now that's why this is bad. So yeah, I suppose, you know, we don't know any better. We do some pretty crappy stuff to ourselves and others. And then we see the consequences, and voila, here comes the next layer of illumination.
Yeah, you do.
Now I get it. That's why it was bad. Okay.
You do it again and you do it again, and you build up focus and you build up muscle memory. And then you can react, but not as a reaction, but you can just act. And because you got enough control over a situation to at least navigate yourself and chart your course without going against everything.
So, sorry, I had to step out, but I was just wondering, are you still talking about judgment? Because that's really important. What you guys just say is that, you know, some call it self-forgiveness, but, you know, I'd like to take it to the next level, actually, and say, you know, there's so many things we do because we have contracted it out. Lots of it is karmic resolution. So very often you can look at it, if you do it just once and you realize it, you know, and that can help. That can sometimes help to go into the forgiveness level. Say, oh, maybe that was karmic. Now, we can't use that as an excuse, but very often it has been karmic resolution, right? Because everything we're talking about here now is we've been and done it. And this is the other level of non-judgment, because if we're judging somebody now, in some lifetime, a fractal of ourselves has done it. This is why we always keep on going back to bloody self-judgment. This is why we need to stop. You know, blame it on karmic resolution once, okay? Get your way out of this to make you feel good. But then if it happens again and again, you got to really pull yourself up and say, hang on a second. Okay.
Well, what am I not getting here?
What am I not getting here?
Well, why does this shit keep happening to me? That's a really good question. Why does this keep happening to me? And that's where the magic occurs. Here I get it. This is what I was supposed to learn. And guess what? When you learn it and pass the exam, the karmic machine tests you just one more time. Here, do it one more time. Let's see if you really learned your lesson. And then if you pass the next time, you say, okay, then all right, here we go. Next lesson. All right, now deal with this next one.
And you know, we can take this even further now. We can actually say, instead of the why question, because the why question itself implies judgment. Why? Why have you done that? Change the why question, the what, for what purpose would I still create that?
I love it.
I still create that. And then you know what? They're very often, we are actually not that stupid people. There often is a purpose attached to it. Everything we do has still a certain purpose or a valid point in our own internal world that probably doesn't make any sense to anybody else. But that's okay, because we just need to find the sense for ourselves. Because once you get that, oh, there is still a value attached to that. Now, and then you can say, okay, well, is this value still valuable to me? Or can I actually replace it with something else now in the light of the heightened awareness that I've accumulated?
Yeah, is it happening to me? Or like, am I just creating this situation?
Well,
but then what I really love now, because it got me thinking, the whole compassionate thing is just like, because we know we create almost everything we do. But it's like sometimes people can't see what's going on, and trying to tell them what's going on is just, you know, not called for at the moment, when the moment just needs compassion. Like it just needs to say, oh, I'm so sorry, like your situation sucks ass, instead of telling them like you created that shit. It's like, oh man, like that's so bad. Like I don't know, just like it just makes me want to practice compassion right now and in this little bit.
Compassion is a bitch because it's so misidentified. Because compassion can be very unkind. What does let's ask the question, what does compassion mean to you guys? What does compassion mean to you? And I started off. For me, compassion means listening without, just what Sean just said, without bringing a solution, because that's been the most difficult thing for me. And probably for you guys too, because we all have a level of awareness that you immediately go to that, yes, that you can change. It's not compassion. It's not compassionate to give them the solution or the point. It can be superb. It makes a very good facilitator if you have a person who is ready to change. But like Sean said, there are people out there who just want to be listened to, and that's okay too.
So
I don't know what. Oh,
go on, please, Amy.
Oh no, I just wanted to say, when she was talking about that, like not giving the answer, I just know, like, you know, Jesus always came back with questions. He never gave answers. He just came back with questions where you may not be seeing the question, and that the question can help. That's how I saw that.
So first of all, if somebody's down, don't kick them. If they're wounded, don't rub salt in it. And then if there's a way to point them in the right direction, don't carry them. You'll just hurt yourself, and they'll get lazy expecting you to carry them all the way to the top of the mountain. That's not a good approach either. So, oh, I'm very sorry this happened. And by the way, they're giving free dinner on such and such geographic location. Go get your fill.
Well said.
What else? What does compassion mean to you guys? How do you do it?
Non-judgment, maybe?
Yeah, you kind of go to someone else's level and go on with non-judgment. And just let them go through what they're going through. Don't obstruct it. Accept it. And then try to help, but don't try to take over their own situation with your own purpose.
What is required here? Ask yourself the question in your mind's eye. What is the kindness here? What is compassion here? What is required here? What can the person hear?
You know, Martina, from my point of view, I agree with John, because I was very myself. I experienced that myself most of my life, the empathy. When I saw somebody suffering, I want to take the suffering from the person and put it on my shoulder. And that caused me a lot of pain in my experience life. I mean, all my situation that I have been carrying for maybe 3 decades was the consequence of that. I was playing the God role. Everybody was suffering, I was sick. So I want to resolve it. Anybody was close to me. And take it from them and take it to myself. And sometimes helping people when I knew I don't have the possibility to helping them. I burned myself to helping others. And that was the wrong path for the program that we had to helping others. We had to helping others. We are here to helping others. And I forgot about myself because I was in the empathy role. Now, sometimes I challenge. However, I'm more aware now. It's like a holding the space but not getting involved. I become like a zero, neutral. And sometimes I feel afraid myself because, wow, I don't have any feeling. I just recognize that the person is in the process, but I don't taking over. And if I have to speak with them and, give you some hope and, peace or joy or something, whatever, to making them feel better, but I don't take it on me because that caused me a lot of pain in my life.
So for me,
go on.
Yeah, for me, when I think about compassion nowadays, since I've learned a lot more of recent years, I try to stay in the sacred neutral. And sometimes somebody just really needs somebody to listen to them and not do anything. All they want to do is talk and talk and talk. So I just kind of stay in the sacred neutral and just let them be, let them talk, let them get whatever out, without attaching myself to their situation, their problems. And also, for me, compassion is I will feel the person out. And if they require my help, then I will offer that help. And if I feel them out and they don't really want my help, then I'll just step back and just listen. And for me, that's how I stay a compassionate person. And that's what
So
I want
if I may sum up what everybody said. Number one, our highest good, because we're number one. We shouldn't martyr ourselves to anybody. Our highest good. Then number two, their highest good. And determining that is difficult. So in the situation, if I give the person a solution, is this going to be a benefit to them in the long run? And let's not get really mystical about it. It's just common sense. If we direct them to the right point, are they going to follow? Or is giving them this information at this time towards their highest good? So that's what we should consider, I think. Number one, it shouldn't be harmful to us. We have to keep our vibration, our light. So it shouldn't be in a way that we do 100 clients and it diminishes us, wipes us out. That's foolish. You'd be better off not engaging in this practice. So first of all, keep yourself at 100% at all times, remaining detached at the sacred neutral. Okay, that first box is ticked. Then looking at the person carefully. So you've got to be very, very careful not to step on their journey, for example. If them going through this hardship is teaching them something, you don't want to rob them of this. And then how would you do it correctly without adding to their burden? Sometimes knowledge is painful. You don't want to overload the poor person. So maybe sometimes compassion would be doing nothing. So it's just a judgment call, I think. You've got to be very, very careful with keeping in mind the person's highest good. And of course, before that, primary to all your own highest good. So if you can't help, no problem. Just don't be an extra burden. Don't add to the problem.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And sensitivity came up too for me, the word sensitive. Our sensitivity is different from other sensitivities. And just knowing that, to be sensitive to what they're feeling, not even knowing what it is, we don't really know. I think that keeps it open. It keeps the heart open. It keeps their heart open. They don't shut it off, you know. So that came to me when you were talking, Amir.
Just soothing them. They're burning. Just pour a little ice water on the flame. Here you go, buddy. I don't care what's going on. It's none of my business. Here, let me just soothe this. That would also be compassionate. You see an animal in pain. You help the animal. It's not going to open its mouth and start saying, "Thank you, senor." It's not going to go. Right? But you can still see in the poor creature's eyes, "Thank you, I'm grateful." So yes, that would be again part of compassion. You see something that's kind of wonky. You don't care why or how, you know it's going to benefit everybody. If you fix it, boop, there you go, I fixed that. Bye-bye, I'm out of here. There's no need for thank you or recognition or anything like that. That would be compassion. You're not adding to anybody's burden. That's what I'm thinking. So Martina, please, could you just complete the whole cycle, whole picture?
Completion.
Completion.
I had a couple of thoughts come up. I've looked at compassion, being a recovered martyr. I've always called myself a martyr more than an empath. But I've looked at compassion in the new light of the new empath, the healed empath, that now doesn't have to go in and take on other people's stuff and overwrite whatever is required for them. But the compassionate master can make a choice through the level of awareness that it has. What is he or she has? What is required right now? Do I just sit with it, be the space, hold the space? Do I put a little bit of ice water on it, like Amir says? Or do I rip the guy's head off? I want to add that because that can be compassion too.
Absolutely.
AB many times do that in the most compassionate way, because the understanding that he has is anger is required right now because I know you are potent. And let me say something here. We've talked about this before, and I heard Linda say that, and I was like, oh my God, Linda, you're so good. What she said was, when you have somebody who really shows you that disempowered, tiny little me, it's almost like they're sending that energy at you, and you have you have a choice, but as an empowered master, you take that energy, but you don't take it on, you turn it around and send it back. So what you're actually sending back with an intensity, and I never knew when I get intense with somebody, I thought, what a bitch I am. You can't do that. Just listen. When she said that, it's that playing disempowered. Yeah. There's a difference between somebody who is in shit and doesn't know what to do. And there's the disempowered player. And you know what? Don't come to me if you want to play disempowered, because I can't do that. So
it's a trap.
It's a trap, and it hurts you. It backstabs you. It creates pain for you if you don't take that intensity and play it back.
It's like that little hot dog in the bear trap. Ooh, hot dog. And then you stick your hand in the bear trap, and then that's the beginning of your fun. Fun times. You're probably now trapped by a narcissist or a psychic vampire. Oh yeah, absolutely. We should address that spectrum of things.
And that's a little backdoor that leads us back to what Amir said in the beginning. You got to look at yourself first, yeah? But when you have a perception that this person is just playing way, way beyond, and it's so annoying. Think of yourself. So many times you meet somebody, you see the potential, because like Amy said, we're no longer seeing their roles. You see the potential, you see the light, and then they play this sneaky little mouth business. You just want to slap them.
Baseball bat, you know.
You know what I mean?
You think I'm so potential? Watch this. Like,
as you guys said, compassion can be walking away when it is required. Just walk away.
Spiritual brick and purse.
Yes. And this is why exchange is so important when anyone works in that sort of arena, because, you know, if you come to me, it's permission. Somebody comes to me for a session, permission to throw it back, because nobody who can't handle it will even be attracted to the energy anymore. Yeah.
It's like you show that person all that self-potential, and then so often like the self-defeating programs come up and they just get scared and freaked out. So it's like, throw in the towel, because I am not ready to see all, like, even though they are, because they're coming to see you, but like their self-limitation saying, no, I can't see that right now. I'm going to self-sabotage right now. Say, and screw Sean, this.
You just said it. You just said it. When that meeky little disempowered thingy comes out, it's a version, it's a shot gone awry.
Like, so shit, that means I got to wake up early. I got to, you know, I got to start planning this. I have to do all these things.
Yeah. Well, you then get very real. You have an awareness that you're actually talking to an entity, because the person itself in front of you has no longer control over that behavior, that program. It has become an AI program.
Yeah, it's based in fear.
Yeah. And the way to deal with an entity is you have to be intense, because otherwise they're gonna.
Yes. Yeah. You light a nice little fire under their backside and watch them.
Yes. And then you be naughty. That's naughty. We were talking.
Just a little lighter. Yeah, just hold that little lighter, give them a little.
And then let out some bullshit or a fart and bang.
And that is for the greater good. You don't even have to say this is judgment. You're being naughty. Actually, we're just making it funny, because that is actually the kindness that is required. And we've seen it with potent facilitators like AB. We've seen it with Linda. They do it all the time. We do it all the time. We don't let those people get away with it, because there's a reason why they come into your field.
Oh, yeah.
There wouldn't be that signature frequency match anyway. That is your little excuse, if you need one, to be
completely right. So again, beautifully put. Sometimes compassion is pulling your sword out of the sheath and giving it a good swing around, cutting down whatever needs to be cut down in the name of the highest good of the person. Because again, they've come to you, right? They've asked that whatever consciousness remains of that being is asking for help. Maybe they can't do it on their own. So you facilitate their liberation. So yes, sometimes that act of harsh, maybe even aggressive righteousness is necessary.
And you know what? In the weirdest sort of way, if you turn it around, it's an honoring of that person because you're acknowledging their potency.
Yeah, you're not acknowledging their disabilities. You're not empowering their disabilities. You acknowledge their self-perceived disability, but you're still pumping up. You're perceiving the light in them.
Exactly. You acknowledge you can do this. You can handle this. Otherwise, I wouldn't give it to you. Now, let's talk about compassion. What's the next level? That's another level we're working towards now. Because we compare feeling with compassion, right? Now, for the longest time in our mastery, self-healing mastery, sovereignty journey, we have tried to get out of feeling, or at least to not get out of it, but to cleanse the feelings, right? And no longer, look at the get rid of the distortion of the feelings. Now, we've talked about this in shows. It was one of the shows I did with AB where we talked about feeling versus
reacting, probably, yes.
Feeling versus just receiving information, where we don't necessarily have to feel it anymore, right? We're just getting that light information, because our emotions have been our guidance system and they've worked really well. But now we're moving into multidimensionality. It's slightly different because the feelings are getting less, because Ascended Master have a fraction of the feelings that we have. And we're moving out of energy harvesting too. We don't want them to harvest our feelings, blissful or not, or negative or not. So, but does that mean that we're turning into robots? Of course not. But does that mean that we're starting to feel less? Yes.
The best damn robots you've ever seen.
The feeling is starting to change. The feelings now, and that's a lovely exploration I'd like to play with, because we got coming from feeling, the old way of feeling, into sensory exploration beyond the six senses.
Kind of like a deeper, more wholesome feeling that we're working with.
Now, has anyone, I don't actually, because the six senses are the limitation in itself, right? Because how many people say, oh, I can't see the unseen, I can't hear, I can't smell. No, there's something wrong with me. Now, Linda talks about 355 senses. I don't know how many there are. I haven't heard actually AB talk about, I can't remember him saying much about the other kinds of, well, yes, I have, because that's the multi-million letter alphabet, isn't it? Yeah. So what we need to start, exploration, invitation, cultivation, new senses. What are the new senses? How can we start perceiving beyond the six senses? How can we play with that? What are they called? How can we help each other? What have you experienced that is so out of it that you haven't actually, oh, that could be one of those 355, whatever they are.
I'm thinking that if we go and we experience a new form of sense, or a seventh sense, 8, 9, 10, whatever, maybe that's when we'll start experiencing the 8-color frequency of time as well. Because we may need that other sense to grasp the 8-color frequency of time. What do you think about that?
Great. What does that mean? What does 8-color of time mean? Let's embody it, because I haven't. I don't know yet. I'm sure we have done it already because it's here, but I haven't acknowledged it yet. Because everything we're seeking, we haven't acknowledged yet. Everything we are separating from us, we haven't acknowledged yet, because we have probably embodied it, but this is our thing, isn't it? You know, we're doing it without awareness. So let's bring it into our awareness.
Just by asking the question, it will probably begin to come into our awareness here.
Let's ask the question until next week. What does the 8 color of time mean to me? And that's a very open question. And don't kill it with an answer, okay? Do not kill it with an answer.
My personal experience with expansion of consciousness and awareness, it requires a change in identity.
Yes.
So what I'm thinking is, you start believing, okay, from my experience, I'm this nationality, I'm this gender, I'm this age, I'm this race, and so on. All that has to go. You have to wash away, burn away, hammer away at that ego, which is telling you you are this, this, and this. At the point where you understand, I am the all, I am the divine cosmos, and feel what that means, meaning that I am everything, everything, everywhere, then you've got access to all those senses that were limited by the ego. Because we probably all agree we are everything, we are the full potential, we are in our full power, we are everything that we're meant to be. There's only limitations on our perception. That while we have, say, for example, hearing, where we're so busy with the noise in our mind that we're not registering. So perhaps we have to expand the ideas of who we are, expand it to the infinite, and then we'll have all those senses. So breaking away the ego, that practice of ego death that you would have with a new practice, just doing this over and over, every time over, you get access to more of your birthright, which are all these senses that are just, for lack of a better word, out of your conscious zone of awareness. It's all there. You're not strengthening anything. You're not growing anything. It's all there. Just to be able to perceive it in the conscious mind, you have to expand what that definition is, what your conscious mind is. So break yourself, kill yourself, die every day before you die. Just wash away all that nonsense. The truth is we are everything.
So this is perfect, Amir. You just said something cool. This is a tool, yeah? Before you go to bed, destroy and uncreate yourself, your life, your job, your children, your husband, your wife, your mother, your blah, blah, whatever. Your house, your cat, your dog. And all you do is just, here with I just destroy and uncreate everything that I've ever known. And that's it. And then see what arises from there.
So who knew your mother-in-law could be taking away 10 of your senses? Huh?
But it's that releasing all the definitions, you know, and then obviously take it beyond this lifetime, in every lifetime, dimension, galaxy, universe, you know, because we're working on this integration, but we're not there yet, you know, or not there yet, you know what I mean? So that's a good tool to really, really destroy and uncreate all of that.
Can I say what Amir was saying? I had this note. I don't know why I brought it with me today, but it's sitting here. Amir, I listened to Linda, and Linda gave everybody a challenge. And she said, who are you if you had no identification? Who are you? That was her challenge. She said, can you embody being with no information, having no identity to any past experience? Can you live in this world without any attachment?
Isn't that perfect?
Perfect for today. Yes, so that was her challenge, and there was more to it. I just kind of wrote those as little notes, but.
So isn't that coming back to consciousness? You're just pure consciousness?
Yeah, but of this world, like as you're human.
Yeah.
As you're being human here, because that's what we come here for this playground, can we be no identity? I don't know what that even feels like, but
that would be
even
just your
like no using.
let's do a meditation. Do you want to?
Hell yes. Yes.
Something along, let's find out.
Yeah.
I mean, talking. Let's just find out, really, if I remember, because there was something similar I've done at some stage. Okay, so close your eyes. Close your eyes. Right. Take a couple of deep breaths. Feet on the floor. Take that breath all the way from the tailbone up into the crown. Expand it out into the crown, into the brain, into the mind, all the way down into every single cell of your body. Good. Then I want you to start imagining that you are walking in a field, along a path. As you're walking along that path, there are baskets on the side of that path. As you're coming to the first basket there, you are being asked to take every belief that you've ever had, in known and unknown, and take that belief, just put it into that basket. This lifetime, other lifetimes, dimension, time streams, galaxies, universes. Even if you can't remember, you don't have to remember. You just take them, give permission to the I am, avatar you, to take all their belief systems, opinions, conclusions, expectations, put them into that basket. Take a few moments there, keep breathing, because some of those beliefs probably don't want to be put into that basket, but just do it anyway. And remind yourself, you can always pick them back up again, okay? So this is not something forever. It's just a choice you're making right now in this present moment. And then once you've done that, keep walking and get to the next basket. As you get to the next basket, you're being asked to take all the identities that you've ever had, all the roles that you've ever played, this lifetime, dimension, timelines, galaxies, universes. Just drop those identities into that basket. And then from there, keep walking keep carrying on that path, get to the next basket. And that basket is asking you to take your feelings, all those feelings, the so-called negative, the positive ones, the blissful ones, the orgasmic ones, take them all and put them in that basket. Drop them. And just take a little check on yourself. How do you perceive yourself at this stage? Does it feel a bit heavy? Does it feel light? Does it feel ease? Is there hardship to it, or is there smartship to it? Just acknowledge it. Nothing to do with that right now. Just acknowledge it. Acknowledge what is. Stay present. And then keep walking to the next basket. Now we're going to release all the pains, emotional, physical, spiritual, all those pains that have been disempowering you, that you haven't turned into gifts yet. Put them in the basket, let them go, drop them, release them. Good, and carry on walking. Stay grounded. You might be getting lighter. I don't want you to lift off. Stay grounded, keep on walking. You're walking on grass, walk on that path. Next basket is asking you to take your clothes off. Now, this is going to be tough now because we're all going to be naked, all on the same path. Can you do that? We're not leaving any knickers on, no bras, girls. Take it off. Hat comes off, Amir. Not keeping that either. Everything comes off. All the clothes, all the jewelry, please. Any piercings, everything off. No beads, no crystals. You're going to be naked, just you. Earrings, please, don't forget. Good. It's getting juicy now. Take yourself, give yourself some more time. Good, and then let's go to the next basket. That next basket now, you're being asked to take off your skin suit. Whatever that means for you. Take off your skin suit. Take off that technology that you've been hiding behind. Take off the technology that you've been misappropriating, using, misabusing. Just drop it in the basket. And then see what's left. Just take a peep, take a look. What does that feel like? What do you perceive yourself as? Is there something you hear, you smell, you taste? And then walk out into that big, huge opening. And there's light, tremendous, tremendous light. And join in that light. There's no separation. Just light, like that mercury. Just allow yourself, that little blob, to go into that mercury and just become one. And as you walk in, can you feel, can you see, can you perceive how that light gets even bigger and expands out? All these different light, rainbow colors, swirls, sparkles. Vibration, frequency, harmony, expand that out. Is there a kind of communication that you can still participate in? How is that communication different to when you started the path? Is it more expansive? Does it make any sense at this stage? Is sense even something that is required at that place, space of beingness, of doingness, of havingness, of be-do-havingness? Just hang around, be naughty if you want, have some fun. And of course, we're not going to hang out there for that long, but this is now a knowingness for you that you can go back there at any time. And for now, we're just going to say our goodbyes. And slowly, gently, we're going to make our way back to the baskets. First, we're going to pick up that skin suit. Does it still fit? Is it too big? Is it too small? And then you do what you have to do. You might have to expand skin suit, make it smaller, make it bigger. Does it fit differently? Just have an awareness of what's going on. As you carry yourself further to the next basket, and you pick up your clothes. And they might no longer be very interesting. So you can just, in a blink of an eye, you can just adjust those, change those clothes, make them, use your imagination, make them into something different. Make them into something that really works for you now much better than those old clothes that you put there before. Step out next to the basket of the feelings. You do not have to pick them up. You can just leave them there. They're not going anywhere anyway. So even if you leave them there now, you can always go back and pick them up if you have to. Or you may or may not need them. Back into the beliefs basket. Anything useful there? Or is it just old crap? You may be into vintage, so I don't know. It's worthwhile picking something up or not. Maybe just for melancholia. Don't know. Up to you. See how you feel. Any identities from the next basket? Be very careful what you choose. Having said that, you know that you can always drop them back in the basket, yeah? So it's neither here nor there. Don't beat yourself up. Whatever you're choosing, you can still put it back the next moment. Choice only lasts for 10 seconds. Any beliefs? Good. Whichever basket I've forgotten now, you can always come back there now, later. And then come back, all the way back where you started from. And then bring your awareness back into the room. And what if you could maintain that level of expansion? Whatever you've learned there, whatever you've picked up, whatever you've sensed, whatever you felt in a new way, how can we work with that to make it even more potent, even more powerful, even more beautiful, joyful, graceful? Welcome back.
Yay.
Yay.
Oh, that was amazing.
That was amazing. Very good
good
job.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my
I wanted
gosh.
to say, Martina, when you got to the basket with well, you have to take all your clothes off, and you put your clothes in the basket, and we're all naked now. And I said, well, I have to put shame into the basket as well, because now I'm feeling all naked, which is something I'm not used to, and I feel ashamed. So I have to take the shame and dump it in the basket.
But Lana, that was from the basket before.
Well done. Well done.
I guess I must have carried it forward to the next basket.
Well done.
I have no problem with the clothes, but the hat stays on.
I said it. No, the hat does not stay on.
Well, there's just a ray of light floating around with a hat.
Did you guys see it? The hat I saw it.
When you were talking about the hat, I was thinking about his pipe. Are you going to tell him about his pipe as well? Is he going to leave the pipe?
No, the pipe is easy, the hat not. I know.
So the only two souvenirs I'm taking to the light realm are my hat and my pipe. The light needs more of that. Oh, that was awesome. Really beautiful.
Martina,
Yeah.
I have challenged myself to get my body back. I just want to be out of the body.
Honestly, yes. That was the worst part.
Yeah.
Goddamn skin suit again. Oh, yeah.
Gotta say, I looked pretty cool when I was coming back. They're pretty fly clothes.
Did you change it? Yeah, that Herminia, that's I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is difficult. Embodiment is not easy. But then again, you had using your imagination. You know, lots of you guys came back with totally different clothes.
Yeah.
Right. Those are a couple of glamorous schnooks out there.
Lots of color.
Funny enough, when you said you can change it, I was thinking I'm going to go full goth with the spikes and everything and all the piercings. Yeah,
Oh, everybody's avatars look completely different right now.
Oh yeah. Hey, what the hell happened? Well, we did a meditation with Martina. You know, stuff happens.
Everyone's got different personalities now.
And you know what? How easy was that?
Yeah.
Didn't cost anything. And what if that is the next level of exploration? The imagination, far beyond the 5, 6 senses.
Well, I want to ask one question. When everybody, I'm asking this question too. When you were walking, which side was your basket? Was it on the left, the right, or on both sides? I had all my baskets on the left side.
Both. Mine were both.
Right.
Left for everyone.
Mine were both.
Mine were both, but I left the right-hand side baskets empty. So I might need them for later.
Maybe for the pipe and the hat.
Well, let's not go too far.
Lana, that's interesting that you mentioned that, because it's very, I was born left hand. And because, you know, because Christianity, the people that when the child was born with using the left hand, it was for the devil. And they make me to use my right hands. And I find out that just after I use some, you know, a spiritual job with some, you know, one of those healers. And she asked me, do you know if you are left hand or right hand? I said, no, I always having right hands. And then I got this idea. I asked my mother, and thank God that she remembered. She told me, yes, you were born left-handed.
You were born left-handed and then you switch hands? Is that what you're saying?
No, you know, because on that time when because my family was Catholic. And then supposedly at that time when the child was trying to use the left hand, they even tied the hands on the back, and in the school, you know, forcing the kids to use the right hands, because it was something like the devil, the child that had the left hands. It was terrible. So many, we have been through so many stuff. That's unbelievable. I forgot to put that song in my basket.
Yeah, well, we got to be careful. If their courts in heaven, we're all going to be sued with defamation. The devil will be suing all of us. These bastards, they kept blaming me and I didn't do any of it.
Right?
Oh, well.
Putting all the burning on him.
Yeah. So,
I
well,
behind for the devil. The devil made me drink. The devil made me kill. The devil.
And the devil said, I was somewhere. I was in Australia at the time. I wasn't even there. Come on, give me a break.
You know what they say about the serpent in the Garden of Eden? The serpent only suggested to Eve to eat the fruit, but the serpent didn't say, well, you have to eat the fruit. You must eat the fruit. It was just a subtle suggestion. It's like, I didn't make you do it. You did it all on your own. I just played, off a suggestion to you.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I just said those apples are so juicy and delicious. I didn't tell you how to have it. No, it's it's classical shedding of responsibility instead of owning it and growing from it. No, it was the devil's fault. He did it. It wasn't me.
Well, the devil can only really suggest it to you, right? And you got to be
Poor
the one
thing.
to take up.
Poor thing. I mean, come on. Let's give the guy a break. I know people that are a lot worse. Poor devil.
Martina, that was really nice. It was like a good way to put extrasensory perceptions within the range of our current perceptions. So like make them real. And then like the whole process of uncreating everything, it's kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about with the completion. Because the completion is just bringing the process to an end. You create your identity, you create what you are, but then like in the rebirth process, because once you complete something, you initiate the dying process, or you initiate the rebirth process. So once you create that identity, it's just busting it all down and then recreating everything all over again. And it's the process that we've learned from everything, from going through everything. So now we can do it just like that if we want to, because we already done the process. It's ours. We own it. We completed it. So now we can uncomplete it and recomplete it.
Absolutely. And you know what? We're going to bring in our imaginary rebels here.
With the spikes on the shoulders, the punk over there in the chair.
We have to go really, outside the box, because it's like you call it a rebirth, and we can call it as well a new birth of something completely new. Because remember, guys, this is not a reincarnation. This is something we have never, ever done before. And this is why it is so cool to practice our imagination and go wild with it. So bring the rebels back out, but the rebel is going to be different than it used to be, because the rebel is no longer having to fight challenge. It's no longer having to fight the hardship. It has to be a smart chip rebel. It has to be a joyful rebel that just wants to play. No more hardship, smart chip. No more challenge, choice. And even beyond choice, because even choice implies separation. Yeah.
What did you guys joyful rebels wear back? Because I was like wearing like these like colorful stitched jeans with like this badass jacket, and like I was strutting, and I was like just like standing tall, and I brought all that back.
For me, it's just the hat and shoulder pads, nothing else.
I had a long white feather coat on. Yeah, with like crown, like a big crown coming up.
Well, I wasn't reading anything. I saw that. Yeah, I saw.
Well, I went forward with jeans and t-shirt, and I came back with a beautiful flowing flowery printed long dress coming back. You know, that's what I came back with.
And now we can start, you go on this journey, as often as you want, and you bring back those ideas, those new clothes, and then you can say, hey, start creating them, go to a tailor, start finding fabric and start making it and see if people might like it or not, because we need.
Martina, I'll be out of a job.
Are you a tailor? No, why?
Yeah, I'm an academic, yeah? Imagine I go to university.
Yeah.
With all the spikes and
but you see, this point, you got to lose your identity, babes.
Oh yes, I agree.
More people will come to the School of Hard Rock.
Yeah,
like that's the real deal right there.
Oh yeah, doesn't give a shit. Look at the guy.
He could be Jesus.
So this is everywhere. Sorry.
Wait a minute. So Amir came back with his hat, his pipe, and just spikes on his shoulder. He wasn't wearing any clothes.
Yeah, no, he's sticky.
I can still remove them. It's not too late.
He's sticky.
Yeah.
So only his top part was clothed,
Yeah, underneath I'm a little puppy. I bark, but no bite.
We are not going to ask him to stand up. Not today. We ran out of time. But if you come on again, I'm sure we will have to check this out. Guys, any closing words for today? We've done 2 hours.
Okay, thank you, Martina. Thank you so much.
Everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to really thank our 3 men to come out, male rising. Thank you to help us to balance a little bit here. And I hope we see you all again next week. And
I wanted to say thank you to Amir for accepting the invitation.
Thank you for having me. You're very gracious. Thank you.
So spontaneously, I just had the quick thought invite Amir and see if he will come. So
Fabulous.
I was just taking my chance there, Ami.
Oh no, this is lovely. And again, I follow my gut, and it was going boo, that warm, tingly feeling, something awesome is coming. So yeah, I just jumped at the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I follow my gut and invited you too. So the feeling is mutual right there. But we hope that you would come back and join us again.
Of course, if you would have me. So yes, trust your intuition. You've got a good thing going. Don't let any snakes in the garden. And yes, just let me know if you deem me to be a snake or a dragon. Dragons are awesome, by the way. I'm one of them. So yeah, I would love to.
Granted. Permission granted. Whatever you
Yay!
I like the dragon more.
Well, dragons are fun. Oh my God. I mean, if you've ever had them in your meditation, they're badass. I love them.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my best experience in my ayahuasca try. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we do this every week at the same time. So the invitation is open to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
With all my heart. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And also, this imagination journey is something that we need to start integrating. So feel free, if you have any meditations, you make it up yourself or something, because it would be nice to have, to complete, as we completed now, to just add a little bit of that. And then on that note, we can just let everyone go and let it simmer and let it, work with. All right. So thanks very much. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
I'll see you next week. Yeah.
Good day for everyone.
I'll wear pants for next time.
Good.
Oh my